Live. This is the market update. Is XRP breaking down? Can you believe these job numbers? Hint, no. What numbers can you believe? What can you believe about social disorder in the United States and how that impacts the dollar? And most importantly, what altcoins can you focus on? Is it a large group or a small group? In my opinion, it's a small group. The other story, banks. I can't believe how hawkish they were. I guess this fake employment number drove their decision, but regional banks are failing. You're definitely going to want to see those charts. Bitcoin is going to take one look at that and go up. It's just a question of time before that happens, really. In other words, on a payroll number like today, we'll go into it. You know, the market may be soft because algos always sell or buy or sell off whatever the number is. But anybody who is expecting an actual number in an election year needs to read more objective news. Okay, let's welcome who's here before we tear this up. Andre, first on the stream. What's up? Jappy, Ave. Okay. Richard Barry here. Endless Hope, Crypto Path, Rugby Performance Lab. Welcome. Sarah is here. Good morning. Aiken, what's going on? Ron, Kat D, welcome. Donato, Raymond, Ricky wants to look at the Filecoin weekly chart. Don't let me forget, we will do some altcoin overtime today if I have time. Okay. BitBoy Al, get well soon. Okay. If you're looking to join Patreon, it's patreon.com/unhinged crypto. I'm sorry. Yes. Unhinged crypto. My producer is probably dropping the link in here as we speak, and the link is down in the description. Or if you can get to your phone, you can scan this QR to get there. Again, for Patreon, there's the QR on the screen. The link will probably be in the comments, and the link is definitely in the description for the video. Basically, what you get with the Patreon, not basically, what you get with the Patreon is 6 minutes of coaching and guidance on this market. So it's like a mini market update every day, hitting the key points, along with the key charts about all altcoins, and basically great timing, right? Nailed the bottom in Solana twice, nailed the bottom in a huge move on Render. So analysts are not right all the time, but if I may say so, we're hot. So BitBoy Al, we wish you a speedy recovery. If you have trouble getting into the Patreon, feel free to DM me on Twitter. There you go. There the links go up to Patreon. Bull Runner is here. Driftless. Steve Mesa looking to get Aave and DeFi this morning. Okay. Bull Runner said he was the first on the stream and I left him hanging. Sorry it didn't show up in the comments. I appreciate you being here. James Duilo, GKD32, Leroy. James said Patreon is making him money. That's good. Wiley is here. Welcome to the show. UFO Nut is in the house. Okay, let's get to the news. Let's get on it. Okay, there's plenty to talk about, and there's also plenty to laugh about. Okay, once upon a time in a galaxy far, far away, Wall Street economists used to estimate economic numbers, and then the numbers would actually be reported and collected accurately, and then agencies like Bloomberg would report them. Now, Bloomberg is still reporting them, but can you really believe these numbers? Okay, job growth has been up every single month. Job growth has beat expectations every single month. This time with Wall Street praying for a negative number, meaning jobs were lost. Look at this. We added 353,000 jobs. Wow. Traders pair bets on March rate cut after the Fed said they won't do a March rate cut. Some workers on the sidelines despite hot jobs market, maybe because they can't find anything that pays the right wage to keep up with inflation. So if you look at this headline, you're like, oh my God, you know, they're definitely not going to cut rates. You know, everything is great. The economy's humming along. You know, you're going to have politicians stepping over themselves to take credit for this. Okay. Double the expected estimate and higher than all estimates as wages are also up. Okay. So it's a hot jobs number. Now, riddle me this. Zero Hedge. Dear BLS, that's the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Here you have the layoffs announced in the past few months. Twitch, 35%. UPS, 12,000 people, 2% of workforce. PayPal, Charles Schwab, Wayfair, Spotify, Hasbro, Citigroup, 20,000 people. These are all layoffs that either have been announced or occurred. And Google is in the news every day for just constantly shedding people. You know, they're almost numb to it inside of Google. So ask yourself this question. Can you believe the number? I think the answer to that's obvious. Okay. And do you want to trade with algos today? In other words, big tech earnings are out. Let them all digest this. Sometimes the way I feel is that if the market should be down and any altcoin that's actually holding in or positive, you know, buying on a 5% up move hasn't really paid lately. But when you have this type of unusual news that algos are going to react to negatively, anything that actually survives and winds up higher could be a hint as to what you want to do for the rest of February. So top altcoins for the month of February, let Mr. Market tell you. We'll go through the screens and see what we see, and I'll show you the charts. Okay, Bull Runner says, my company, AT&T, has been laying off people for years. Raj, hi, how you doing? Art wants me to do compound. I will check it out. Okay, Luis is here. Luis is here. He was Spartan number 100 in Patreon. Okay, now, next piece of news. The Blu Arctic Water Company started trading on Bitmart India, and that's one of at least 3 centralized exchange mechanisms coming in the next couple of months. This is a real-world asset play, okay? So everyone's talking about real-world assets. There was an altcoin that I liked, PEAS, which was kind of like mutual funds for crypto. All right. It topped out at $110 million market cap before correcting. The market cap of BARC, the water token, which I will briefly explain here, I own it, has a $3 million market cap. Now, the way BARC works is they have plants. They have a plant in Florida and a huge water reserve in Greenland. So this area represents all the major droughts in the world. Obviously, there's a major shortage of groundwater. Certain NGO organizations, one of them that has a big conference in Davos, I can't say their names on social media. The other one has a huge building on 47th Street in New York. You know, as the sort of, I don't know, climate apocalypse narrative is being refuted by science, these groups have got to shift themselves to an actual problem, which is a shortage of groundwater. Okay, so here are the reserves for water. The strategic reserve in Greenland and the plant that we have in Florida, where water is actually going to be sold in bottles to major retail houses. Now, here's how the token works. Obviously, if there are sales of water out of Florida, part of those sales get back into a token. It's not a burn, but it's a token consumption. Okay. Blu Arctic is also going to be selling, and this is the kicker, they're going to be selling NFTs that are going to be actual claims to physical water, the way a futures contract can be a claim to, say, physical gold. So for people who wanted to hand physical water for the day when these non-governmental organizations tie your water rations to your social credit score, because they're going to try to do this, you can actually have a claim for physical water, because in order to buy the NFTs, you've got to have the token to buy the NFTs. So if you want to hand water down to your children, BARC now trades at a $3 million market cap. And then obviously over here, any sales from water go back into the company to sell more water. Okay, so that's how BARC looks. Okay, here is the BARC chart. So BARC started this morning on Bitmart. There's a bigger exchange listing coming in, so I'm told, in 10 to 14 days. This is a diamond bottom, okay? And the recent new lows in BARC have not been accompanied by new lows in stochastic indicators. Now, in case you're wondering why all this negative price action, basically some big holders were hacked. And then for whatever reason, whales sold. Now, this brings me to a story about Meta. Okay. So that's the chart. Let me pull this up. Okay. So groundwater levels around the world are dropping quickly, often at accelerating rates. Now, let's talk about Meta. So at the end of 2022, Meta got bearish on Meta. They gave up on certain strategies and they laid off something like 25,000 people. The stock crashed down to 90. Okay. Stock crashed down to 90, and Jim Cramer, who was responsible for recommending that stock all the way down, I'm going to bring it up right here, live TA style, apologized to his viewers and got so emotional that he cried on the air. Now, it's easy to make fun of somebody for crying on the air, okay? But you got to be pretty bearish and pretty despondent in order to do that. So, just for laughs, here is the chart of Meta today, okay? So, here was the bottom where everybody, so like BARC, everybody is bearish, or everybody got bearish, and these whales sold, pushing the token down to a $3 million market cap. So here is the give up trade in Meta on a weekly basis, just to show you what a give up trade looks like. Like, this is everybody giving up on Meta. This is weekly. So this is like 8 down weeks in a row, just giving up. And here's what happened when they gave up. Okay, they gave up, and then 2 years later, the stock is at 478. They gave up at 90. I don't think BARC is any different, right? No one has done the real world asset play, as in like sold something like it's there. They're going to tokenize everything. BlackRock's coming in, but BARC's doing it now, right? And the narrative, which nobody except, say, I don't know, these non-governmental organizations that want you to stop eating meat, start eating bugs. I mean, are you following what is going on with protests in Europe about farming? I mean, farmers are losing their mind over there. Like, they got put out of, it's almost like they've been put out of business. So if you think these guys aren't serious, the need for a free market for water. So here's the bottom line on BARC. You can have a free market for water, invest in a free market for water, not investment advice. A free market for water gets created, or these non-governmental organizations control the market for water. Those are your choices. Okay. So I leave you with this idea about 60 and $100 million valuations between a $2 million valuation where, again, just like Meta, people gave up right. There's the give up trade occurs right as the value proposition came out. Like everybody gave up on Meta right before ChatGPT came out. It's unbelievable. Okay, now in continued news about social disorder in the United States. Okay, so a bunch of guys, they hurt some cops, right? A bunch of cops who ironically looked just like me, and they got arrested and they walked out of court in New York City, no bail. And they told everybody what to go do with themselves with certain gestures on the way out. Okay. 155 members of a certain party voted against people from overseas who commit social security fraud. Notice who's doing the tweeting here. This is Elon Musk. People believe these relevant migrants went to California after being released with no bail, and the Texas National Guard is now flying the Alamo flag over its headquarters. So I will say what I have said on the market update for a year, and I will continue to say it. The United States of America is ungovernable. It doesn't matter how all these people say got in the country. It doesn't matter if who wants you to eat bugs. It doesn't matter on all these things. I mean, all you have to do is go to Elon Musk's or Jordan Peterson's Twitter, and 3 times a day, these guys are on it. Eventually, the divisiveness gets to a point where it gets reflected in the value of the dollar. Okay, as a side note, a good side note. Thanks to you, the viewer, my YouTube channel now has 6,000 subscribers. It took me and the Eagle King 15 months to get to 4.5K, and we've managed to add 1,200 people in the last 30 days. So, double hats off to you. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, hit the button, blow it through 6K. The thing that's driving the channel, just so you know, is short videos, right? In other words, $50,000 Bitcoin possible in 2 days, 3K views. So the shorts are driving the channel. People are out there looking for content on crypto, and they like these little 60-second, what I call the 6th Street podcast, which again, the Patreon group gets the extended, explicit, specific version of this to include altcoin picks and tactical chart levels. We'll do some of that today to celebrate 6K, but I wanted to give you the skinny on the jobs numbers, okay? Because everybody is like, oh my God, I can't believe how many jobs they added. And as a friend of mine told me this morning, and certain presidential candidates have brought this to people's attention, can you believe anything that they tell you on the news? Anything? I don't think so. I think you got to go to certain independent sources to get actual facts, or at least to get the other side of the argument. Things like the groundwater news, you don't hear about at all until the NGOs are ready to try to control you again with this type of information. Okay, let's see who else is here. Okay. Alejandro is here. Been listening for a long time. Thank you, Luis. I appreciate that. All right. Yes, Steve is saying, is BARC and ERC20? Okay. Okay. BARC is an ETH pair now. So yes, BARC is on ETH. It wasn't paired with ETH before. the new BARC is paired with ETH. Okay. JP Stanley says Solana and Near will be the cycle winners. And you know what? I actually agree. Stay tuned for the Near chart and stay tuned when we talk about XRP, because again, I gave this to the premium group. We're going to discuss it today. Okay. I have heard people talking about PYTH. I know I have to look at that along with FET. Please let me know if there's anything else that I need to look at. Okay. Also Compound. All right, let's go to PowerPoint for your market update on this non-farm payroll jobs release day, February 2nd. Okay, somebody wants to know why BARC is launched on Ethereum. Okay, BARC is launched on Ethereum because that was the logical choice when it was developed. All other coins released by Emerging Asset Group were launched on BARC. I know you want something launched on Solana. BARC is not going to make its way to Solana, but I have a Solana idea on my mind. Okay. Now, obviously, this show is brought to you by not only the BARC token, which I own, but my Patreon as well. Other private groups charge $120 a month. I'm charging $15. And there's a chat. We have to use the mobile for it, but you can chat with me directly, okay, which has value. Other groups in the past have charged a couple $100 for that. And I am going to be getting Discord going so Patreon members can operate in Discord. That is definitely coming soon. Okay, so jump into Patreon. There's a free and a paid option. Lots of people joining the ecosystem through the free option, and the $15 is too much because you're overseas. I understand, but the juicy stuff is in the $15 group. Now, there's the diamond bottom in BARC. If you do ChatGPT on a diamond bottom, you'll note that it is one of the most powerful formations in markets. And this was what was at the bottom of MicroStrategy. Again, it's got a $3 million market cap. I think Steamboat Mickey, before it was listed on a centralized exchange, a meme coin had more than that. And by the way, there's 3,000 rug pulls a night on Solana. 3,000. Okay. So, you can spend money chasing rug pulls because some of them are nasty. I saw what happened with like the Nintendo coin where, this thing got up to a pretty hefty market cap and then it just got dumped. So think about what small caps you're investing in and preserving what capital you have. Now let's go to XRP, which I know people are getting pretty wound up about. So there's a hack, there's not a hack, there's a problem, there's not a problem. As somebody just said, maybe your capital is best spent somewhere else, right? I mean, this thing should have gone to the moon after SEC, and it hasn't done anything. It didn't participate before. So the big question is, honestly, is there going to be a give up trade in XRP? In other words, that's probably going to require a down market, which I don't think is going to happen in the early part of February. So here's the way I'm looking at XRP. XRP is either going to be stuck at 50 cents indefinitely. I have a DeMark chart that actually proves how stuck it could get at 50 cents. Or if XRP cannot really get above 50 cents, 47 cents or 41 cents is theoretically possible if the market goes down, right? Because I think you can expect choppy markets after what I hope is an initially positive period in February. But, it's either stuck at 50 or there's going to be a give up trade where everybody moves money over, frankly, to Solana. Now, here's XRP. This blue line comes from a specialized DeMark targeting system, and it's called like the gravitate line. So as you can see, XRP gravitates to 50 cents. It goes down and it gravitates back. So it's not only a psychological level, but it's also a DeMark number. Now, with this DeMark setup, right, where you had the 1 through 9, that's the first part of the trend. And then it's failed. And these red numbers show that, you know, there's possibility that if it can't get above 50 and the market doesn't go up, that the give up trade could go to 40. But based on this DeMark system, 29 cents is possible. Now, nobody wants to discourage the XRP army. Nobody does, right? And believe it or not, according to my producer, everybody is like, Solana is going up, right? Solana is the new ETH, etc. Please be careful that if Solana ever took off again, that's not at the expense of XRP. For the sake of the XRP army, I hope 50 cents holds. Now let's go to Bitcoin, okay? Philip talking about the Jupiter airdrop, okay? Yes, the Jupiter airdrop is out. That will probably put pressure on Solana. You know, everyone is really interested in airdrops. And I find that when people get interested in airdrops or 1000X starts trending on Twitter, that the market either does nothing or goes down, right? That's what happened after the Uniswap airdrop. Everybody got all excited and then the market went down and then there was an eventual recovery. Now let's talk about Bitcoin. I don't think Bitcoin has any business being below 40K. I can't imagine the rationale for that to happen. I just can't, right? Like BlackRock and all these guys have to buy. The regional banks are failing. You are going to want to see those charts, so don't go anywhere. Okay, hopefully the stream is not lagging. If the stream is lagging, please let me know. Bull Runner's got a little bit of a lag. 43K is DeMark-based resistance in Bitcoin. So Bitcoin's got to break through that. Is it going to break through that on the day of a surprisingly big payroll number? Probably not. But if it did, it would be extremely constructive. Now, on the downside, if for whatever reason, this is an A, B, C correction, theoretically 36 can happen. So there is a rationale for that line of thinking. I just can't believe with banks failing that anybody is going to buy into this narrative that the economy is so strong that the Fed isn't going to have to do something accommodative unless there's something twisted going on. And for whatever reason, they want these banks to fail. I can't even imagine why that's the case, right? Okay. Richard Barry says the stream is fine after a brief lag. Okay, I'm glad to hear that. 43K is the level. It's got to go through 43K. All this stuff I'm talking about lower dollar and liquidity having been pumped in to save banks. If I'm right, Bitcoin blows through 43K. Now, here is some DeMark work on IBIT. Okay, BlackRock Bitcoin ETF. Now, this, of course, because there's not a lot of price action. This DeMark read is going to give you kind of a fresh look. So, according to the BlackRock chart, you got the corrective activity on the DeMark 4. So, normally these things move 1 through 9. It counts a set of conditions like the high is higher than the high 2 days ago. So normally it goes 1 through 9, and you're supposed to get a counter trend correction on a 4, which you did. So theoretically, this has 4 more up days. And I think once we're done with the payroll number hootenanny, this thing can have 4 more up days. Period. Okay, period. Leroy's getting the sound good. Screen froze for 30 seconds, but then it's back. All right, that's good to know. Okay, speaking of the Patreon, we got the bottom in Solana off the full moon at 84. Guys getting friends and family in. So again, the key with all these big altcoins is going to be getting trade location, right? In other words, if the market is in a sideways phase, the best thing to do to be able to hold on positions is get trade location near. Okay, now near has had a really tough time breaking through this diagonal resistance. There have been multiple fake outs, painful. There was one 2 days ago, 3 days ago. However, the market knows that this level is here. So, I mean, either near is going to hit 290 and just come off, or one day it's going to break out by going sideways, right? So, I mean, your choices are down or sideways. And if the payroll number comes out, Bitcoin holds, somewhere in here, they're going to come after the altcoins for the next cycle. And near could be one of them. Right? It's like a sleeper play. Like people are kind of sleeping on it. Like they gave up on it below $1, then they took it up to $4, and now they've retraced it. So, you know, DXY, okay, pounding the table on this. Huge drop in 1985 to 1988. Huge drop from 2002 to 2008. And we're just sitting here waiting for the dollar to give out, because the only solution to a debt crisis is to have the dollar go down. Is to devalue the currency or have the currency trend lower. It's a colossal debt crisis, right? Now, JP Morgan, before the banks went down, said U.S. economy is speeding towards a cliff as debt continues to mount. So here is the KRE. This is the regional bank ETF. So if KRE is below 46, the downside target is 23. It remains to be seen if it can break down. Over here on the right, let me see if I can expand this. No, that doesn't work. Okay. Over here on the right, you have NYCB, WAL, WAL, FFWM, VLY, AFL, BKU. I'll put the copies of the slides as I normally do in Patreon Premium. But these regional bank stocks are going down 10% per day, 10% per day. And if you look at KRE, regional banks, right? So this decline was Silicon Valley Bank and related institutions. And this long consolidation is A, B, C, right? And then the trend restarts. So, you know, Jerome Powell and the tough talk, this is what he bought himself. A truckload of red ink. Galaxy Digital, not budging on Galaxy Digital. Even if Bitcoin goes to 36K, I'm buying or bullish on a crypto hedge fund that has been so beat up. Everybody has given up on Galaxy Digital. Now, trade location in Solana. We got everybody in Patreon at 84, and I showed them the hidden pivot support at 93. If Solana doesn't go down today, 107 is next. And when this airdrop fog clears, you could be talking about 138 as an upside target. The point is, buyers are showing up in Solana at support. And that to me is meaningful, right? In other words, people want it on a dip. And, you know, there were times during the bull market of 2020 where sometimes it paid to own DeFi and all kinds of alts and NFTs. And then there were some times where it just paid to own ETH. Solana on a monthly chart, again, a new month of February. Normally we count 1 through 9, like you counted 1 through 9 on the downside, right? That was the end of the down move, save these 2 months, and then it based. Solana, we got 3 more months. You got a 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 4 more months. I don't see any reason why Solana would go down, right? Particularly since the Fed has already talked tough. The payroll number, the payroll number has come out. What's next? With banks falling apart. Like if banks weren't falling apart, I could be like, okay, I get it. But you got to be kidding me. Bitcoin on a monthly chart. Why can't you just wake up in Bitcoin and have it be at 50K? Right? Like how many what does it take? One bank failure and the Fed to have to come in and do some sort of liquidity facility again, because they've been doing it for a while. Now they're just letting the banks fail. Long Bitcoin, short the banks. Is it annoying? Yes. Do you have to wait? Yes. Markets frequently transfer money from those who are impatient to those who are patient. Render. Okay. There was support at 3.5 on Render. Okay. Patreon, we helped get people in here. Again, Look what Render did to you. Down wick. Take out the wick, right? Do nothing, go down, then go up. Look at what they did to shake everybody out on the 4-hour chart of Render. Render goes down, hits a hidden pivot point, which has been working lately at 420. And this to me looks like a new high, right? In other words, there are going to be altcoins that started this move like Render, INJ, Solana. If there's going to be a next leg, they're going to be the ones that lead. Right now, I'm not changing my mind unless they take out support. If they take out support, fine, we'll redraw the chart. But then again, they took out support here and tested your conviction, right? And that's what bull markets do. That's why they're bull markets, because they get everyone out and then no one wants to get back in. Like this payroll number is probably going to try to chase people out today. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe anybody's buying this with bank failures. Buying this is in believing that the payroll number is somehow negative for equities. Okay. ETH, not exciting, but holding support. You know, if ETH holds support, ETH is essentially waiting for gold, silver to go up and the dollar to go down, which is what you really need for an ETH rally. Okay. MAV and altcoin I'm looking at. Again, when do you want to buy these altcoins? When they're on support, right? In other words, sometimes, even though everybody wants to rush in and have a portfolio of 12 alts, okay, it may not be that case. You may have to focus, excuse me, on 3 to 4 alts in order for you to get, you know, the punch that you need on the upside when it goes. So the alt picking game gets actually more difficult because throwing a dartboard and buying a Solana meme coin has not worked. Has not worked. I mean, people are like, there are a lot of smart people who are bag holders in some of that stuff. And I continue to believe that more meaningful meme coins will come out in Solana, right? In other words, like trying to do another 45th president coin, Nintendo, HODL, right? Every night they try something and everybody just gets totally rugged. Really, the one meme coin that might be interesting, I don't have the chart up, is WIF. Right? Again, some of this stuff has been beat up. ICP on a hidden pivot level. So ICP is up today. ICP, again, all this action down here, they just made you think it was terrible, but it's like a little rounding bottom. It takes out 1295. You could be at 15, right? The key is, will support hold at 12? So if you're watching this 2 or 3 days from now, you just look at this and go, did 12 hold the support in ICP, or did they take out 13? Pretty much everything you're going to be doing from this point forward is going to be level dependent. Okay, here is, again, the KRE banking regional bank ETF. Here is the ABC correction. This thing loses half of its value down to 23. And now, again, people in crypto like, yeah, you know, it loses half of its value. So what? Look, if you lose half the value of a regional bank ETF, which again is a collection of stocks, okay, that's scary. That's frightening. And if they don't care about these banks failing now, they're definitely going to care at 23. Okay. Just so you know what these charts look like. This is the most graphic chart. This is NYCB. Note, this thing was down 37% in one day. And as you can see here, whatever uptick there was off the gap move down got sold. Just got sold. Pancakes and Peanut Butter is here reminding you to hit the like button. That's more important now than ever. Now, going back to a theme that, again, everyone is ignoring. Everyone is ignoring, right? TAO may also be another good altcoin. I forgot to mention that. Hang Seng, 15,600. Expecting a government rescue package for stocks was announced in China because their market is down only, which is disturbing, particularly if you consider what's going on in commercial real estate. This has to affect banks at some point. Okay. BitBoy customer 238. We appreciate that, man. Get well soon. Hang Seng could make a massive new low down to 14K. because they haven't printed enough money to stop the decline. So, I mean, governments never let a good crisis go to waste. Here's your question. Do they want banks to fail? Do they want that? Do they want Hang Seng to go lower? Okay. If they do, it's because they want an excuse to come in and do massive QE. Because again, or some sort of stealth QE that helps support the market. In other words, Powell maybe can't justify a dovish stance given what the economic numbers are. I mean, he doesn't work at the Bureau of Labor Statistics. He has to work with what they give him. But layoffs in tech are massive. White collar layoffs just don't stop. I think yesterday was Zoom. So if they want markets down, the market's happy to oblige. Meanwhile, again, what does that mean for crypto? Okay, let's go to live TA. Start with Compound. Okay. So frequently when you have these diagonal formations, like in Compound, they normally resolve themselves. I have to share screen. Hang on. Okay. So Compound, sideways consolidation. Normally these things don't resolve themselves until it gets to the apex, which conveniently will be right after the Bitcoin halving. Okay. I think if you're looking to take advantage of DeFi, honestly, I think there's something going on SUI, which amazingly is down today. So going to an 89-minute chart of SUI, right? This may be the new home of DeFi. Kind of an unusual, like broadening formation consolidation right on top of an old high. So old high, broadening formation consolidation, momentum indicators ticking up. Let me just mark this as SUI 90-minute. So hooking you guys up today. So this is the type of stuff you're getting in Patreon Premium. Okay. Where is the future of DeFi? What coins are next? Okay. Fetch.AI weekly chart. Okay, so this is very much the same as a lot of coins that we're seeing, in that old highs are being retested. Okay, it's not perfect. Okay, but this was the peak before the Celsius give up trade. This wick up is interesting, but Fetch.AI, this momentum picture is not great, but they're testing support at 54 cents. So you want to buy a lot of these altcoins after they either test or do some sort of flush below support. Alexandra wants me to change my ringtone maybe to a Notorious B.I.G. song. Okay. Solana now above 100. Let's see what else is happening here that's of interest. Okay. One coin that I wanted to look into, but the volatility is absolutely unbelievable. You know, I was looking at Ondo. Okay, this is the 45-minute chart. Okay, again, you know, this is either dead or it's a sideways consolidation, which can be very good in altcoins. I call it the Pepe consolidation, you know, but in some of this stuff, you have to use stops. Now, here was something that I really liked. I really liked PEAS. Okay, this was, you know, the mutual fund for crypto, kind of index fund play. Now, it went to like $110 million market cap. And then they brutally ran stops below the 38% retracement at 7.2. I would be a much bigger fan of this if it got above 7.2. And if it did, that would prove this as a giant stop running operation. Okay. But this is also an example of you cannot get dogmatic in this market. You cannot, right? If you like something and it gives you a bunch of money, you may want to take the money, right? Unless you're doing like Solana and Render and stuff where, you know, you absolutely want to hodl. And then of course, when it comes to XRP, you know, the question is it going to hold? Alexandro is asking, am I still bullish on AGIX? I'm bullish on AGIX as like a project, right? Based on what they believe and what they're doing. But I'm not going to lie to you. The price action stinks, right? I mean, it mooned along with everything else. And now we're playing this waiting game. So, you know, things have retraced. This retraced 62%, which is good, right? That's at 23 cents. So, you know, I guess this price action isn't bad, but we got to get going here, right? And this is the case with the entire market. The market gave you so much gratification so early on, right? Here's TAO, right? Up on Gate.io. Again, you know, I think the good news about this is they tried to retest the 62% retracement. And when they couldn't get down there, it just took off. It absolutely took off. All right. So, all right. So I got to wrap it up there for time reasons. Okay. Wait, I forgot to share screen. Okay. Here's TAO. Sorry. Okay. So when you have TAO, you break the new high, you retrace to 62%, and then you turn around and make a new high. Anything that retraces 62%, like AGIX, I don't know if you saw that. Okay, AGIX, 62% was 23, but we got to get going. But I don't want to give up on it on support. I don't. But, you know, I would like to see this thing get going because the price action in Render is way better. Okay, so Solana got back into green. ETH got back into green. So let's sum this up. Banks are failing. China is a ticking time bomb. I'm starting to believe, like, as I was talking here, that whatever is going to happen, that they actually want it to happen so that they can come in and rescue the whole thing. They're like, let's just get this over with. Now, if that's the case, that's going to be constructive for things like Bitcoin and crypto, right? The lower regional banks go, the better it is for crypto. And if you can get into the right altcoins, right? If you can get into quality at support or do value investing with something like BARC or any meme coin that's been destroyed, okay, there's probably opportunity, especially since I believe you want to come out of the Bitcoin halving looking for opportunities to be long in May. Little early to start talking about that, but it's not too early to start looking at how your altcoin trades on support. Obviously, for more detail about where altcoins are on support, customized requests, you know where to go. Patreon, the link is down below in the description of the stream. It's also in the description of any YouTube shorts that you see. Thank you for getting me to 6K. We'll see you next time.